Rocking on stage with his trademark curly locks, it couldn't be anyone other than Brian May, the legendary guitarist from the hugely successful glam rock band Queen. With their powerful sound, including May's distinctive guitar solos, Queen enjoyed hits like Bohemian Rhapsody and We Will Rock You. As a musician, May's career spans an impressive 40 years, and he's worked with a whole range of stars, including Eminem and Shirley Bassey. Recently, he teamed up with singer and actress Kerry Ellis to produce her album, Anthems. Brian May is your connector the day.
Yes, he is, and I caught up with Brian and Kerry Ellis recently and asked them to tell me about the new album first. This is what they said.
We've been working on it for years, which sounds strange, but of course we've both been pretty busy. Yeah. Kerry in musical theatre, who's risen to the top of her game, and me doing all kinds of stuff to do with Queen and We Will Rock You and stuff. But the album's done, and I'm incredibly proud of it. I've never been more proud of anything that I've been involved with.
Abdul Hamid says he's a big Queen fan. He's from Saudi Arabia, loves your work, both of you. He's had a chance to see the Queen musical, We Will Rock You, and wants to know if there's a planned movie adaptation of the musical.
There is, actually, yeah. Ben's already written it, and I think it's great. It's slightly different. It's a little harder edged than the musical, which is in the theatre. But yes, we have it. It's just a question of getting the right windows of opportunity to mount it, to actually get all the money together and the studios together. But yes, we will make the We Will Rock You movie.
Film work for you?
I have said, come on.
We couldn't afford her. Are you kidding?
Let me do it.
Oh, we look forward to it anyway. Do you know any dates yet?
No, but probably, it'll be a couple of years in the making.
Yeah, all right. Let's get some more of the viewer questions in, because we've had lots of them. J. Laura Davis says she's a huge fan of both of yours, asks what track on the new album you're most proud of?
Well, because it's obviously we're very close to all of them, it just depends on the day of the week what I favour. But it usually comes back to I Love the Butterfly, which is just by myself at the end, and it's just because it's so simple and it's just the two of us, and I just think it shows the essence of the whole album, because it's so grand and epic and huge, and then right at the end it just brings it back to the two of us, which is the essence. So it's cool.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that.
You're still learning.
No, it's really interesting. Kerry actually kind of fought me on that, because I was going to develop it in like I do, I love putting sort of sound tapestries together, and she said no, we keep that just you and me, and she was right. It's great, because the rest of the album is massive. I mean, it is huge, all the elements in it.
Stuart says to Brian that you're an inspiration, and he asks if you have one message for the next generation, what is it? I didn't mean to make you feel old at all with that question by any stretch.
I say just make things better. Don't clean up the mess that our generation has made if you can. Be kind to animals, because I think it's long overdue, especially wild animals. I think there's such a terrible situation at the moment where nobody respects them. People call animals vermin or pests or whatever, and they're creatures like we are. We're just a bit cleverer at covering the world with concrete. That doesn't mean we're more important necessarily. That's my message.
I was thinking you'd make a great Miss Universe with a message like that.
Yeah, and my favourite colour is...
Exactly. Stephen Hellman has written in, he's a question to both of you. He says, who or what are your main musical influences?
Wow. Well, mine, I think probably the reason why the album is so diverse is because of my musical history. Ranges from people like Liza Minnelli and Elaine Page and Barbra Streisand to listening to Queen and rock bands from an early age. And then now, I like listening to Beyonce and Alicia Keys. So it's so varied that's why this album had to harness all those different genres of music.
Fabulous. I can't wait. If you needed great marketeers, the two of you are there, and you've made the album. Who do you think most influenced you, Brian?
I'm a Beatles personally. I think the Beatles, many things from when I was growing up, back to Lonnie Donegan in the early days. But the Beatles are still kind of the Bible to me as regards making records.
Ben Wick has written to us, and he says, at what point did you, and by that he means Queen, realise, damn, we're going to be quite a big deal?
Oh, that's an interesting point. It's very similar to what I feel with Kerry at the moment. There is a point where the snowball starts rolling, and you've been working so hard internally with this sort of pressure to push things out there, and suddenly you realise there's people out there pushing for you. You know, you feel that response coming back, and I feel that right now with Kerry. And I remember that with us, we played a gig at Imperial College, and for the first time we turned up, and everybody knew the songs from the album. And it was like, whoa, they know who we are, you know, and they actually want it, and they understand what we're at. It's a very exciting moment. It was very early on for Queen.
Let me ask you a question I know many people want answered. Mel asks quite simply, what was it like working with Freddie, and do you miss him as much as all his fans do?
Yeah, of course, you miss him every day, yeah. He's part of my tapestry of life, really. It was amazing. He was exceptional, beyond belief. Not just as a singer, but as a creator. And again, very lateral, you know, there's that thing, you know, creative people need to sort of hear voices somehow. And Freddie, whatever it was, he would get these messages, and suddenly you think, where do you get that, Fred, you know? It's amazing. He was great.
As a singer, there's somebody who must have inspired you.
Absolutely. And, you know, to be working with Brian is just, it's an absolute dream, you know, to be part of that kind of history is just incredible.
Christine, for you, Brian, which was more of a personal challenge for you? She asks, achieving success with Queen or completing your PhD?
Very similar.
Very
Showing
hard to
your
say.
span, I think.
Both,
Yeah.
really, yeah.
Did you enjoy the PhD?
I did it, but it was tough. I had to kind of shelve all my sort of achievements in life, if you like, and almost my personality to go back to school almost. You know, you go back to college and you have to just be a student. It was tough, and they didn't make it easy for me, and I didn't want them to. I wanted the PhD to be real, and it was. So there were about 3 moments where I really wanted to give up. I just thought, why am I putting myself through this hell? Because you're up all night wrestling with things that, well, in my case, wrestling with things that I'd stopped doing 30 years ago, and it was hard to get back into. I'm really glad I did it.